Okay, in preparation for our environmental week next week, we're going to learn about something that's important in the environment. What we're going to learn about is the water cycle. But before we do that, I'm going to have you guys do a brain warm-up, like we always do, because we want to warm up your brains. So I have a challenge for you to get you thinking. So what you're going to do is I'm going to show you some words, some color words, but I don't want you to say what the word spells. I want you to say the color of the word. Do that for about 2 or 3 times until you can get them all correct. You'll see what I mean when it comes on the TV screen. Okay? So, here we go. As soon as it appears, you may start saying that quietly to yourself. Go ahead. Okay, so, Jordan, what did you think about that?
It was hard.
Why was it hard?
Because I was reading the word and not looking at
Not the color? Okay. Now, did you eventually get it correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many times did it take you?
3 times.
About 3 times. Okay. Aiden, what did you think about that?
That was hard, confusing, because you have the word and then you have to say it, but you have to say the color, so it confuses everything.
Okay. Were you able to, how many times did it take you before you were able to get through it?
Probably twice.
Twice? Okay, good.
More.
Well, now that our brains are warmed up, now we're thinking. We had to start a little bit, and we juggled up your mind to make it a little bit more powerful. So, like I said, we're going to learn about the water cycle. Now, before we learn about the water cycle, we're going to examine or observe a cycle. Who has one of those fidget spinners? Dylan, okay. Can you get one for us? Can you come on the front and demonstrate that for us? Hey, what's happening to the spinner? What is it doing?
Cycling.
It's spinning in a circle.
It's spinning. Okay. And is there a beginning or an end to that? Can we tell what the beginning and end is?
No.
It is a cycle. There is no beginning or end of the cycle. Thank you, Dylan. Thanks for sharing. So, that's what the word cycle means. You can't tell there's a beginning or an end. You just know it keeps cycling through. How many of you have a bicycle? Okay. How many wheels does a bicycle have?
2.
2. Bi means 2. Bicycle, two wheels. How many have been on a tricycle before? You know what the word tri means? 3, like triangle, 3 angles, tricycle, 3 wheels on the tricycle. They're called that because that's how many wheels they have that are keep cycling, sickle or cycle. Okay. So, in the water cycle, there are 4 phases. There's not a beginning or an end, there's just a phase. It goes from one phase to the next phase, to the next phase, to the next phase. There's really not a beginning or ending. It just depends on what phase. There was one that came before, one that comes after in the phases. And there are 4 of them, and they're called what I call $100 words. These long words, big words. One is precipitation. Can everybody say precipitation?
Precipitation.
Okay. Another one is saturation.
Saturation.
Another one is evaporation.
Evaporation.
And the 4th one is, or the one that we didn't mention yet, is condensation. Say,
Condensation.
Okay, before we go on, I want you to get into your groups, and then I'm going to give each group an assignment. So go ahead and get in your 4 groups. Let's have group 1 here, group 2, group 3, and group 4. I'm going to come around, I'm going to give your group an assignment, and I'm going to give you about a minute or 2 to get ready for that assignment. Okay?
Smile away, boys. Smile away.
go ahead. Let's get prepared for your test.
Let's do it in sync. 1, 2. I don't know. Okay, I think okay. Okay, so here's how this. Okay, so I have an idea. So I'll just like go like this, and then like go like this.
Group 1, are you ready?
1,
Group 2, are you ready?
yes.
Group 3, are you ready?
Yes.
Group 4, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to our seats. Except we'll start with group 4. Group 4, come up to the front. And they are going to portray or act out a word, and we're going to try to guess what it is. So on 3, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And who thinks they know what they're doing? Yes?
Saturation?
Saturation. Why would you say saturation?
Because it's an ocean.
It's an ocean. Were you guys doing ocean waves?
Yeah.
Ah, round of applause. Good job, Constance. Okay, group 3. Okay, let's, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Evaporation.
You got it, evaporation. Okay, group 2. Up front, so we all can see. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. Ava,
Condensation.
condensation, why?
Because they're joining together.
They're coming together, yes, okay. Round of applause. Well, you know what group 4 is going to do then, but, yeah, go ahead. Group 1, I'm sorry, group 1. Come on up. We'll see how you did. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Jubin, what are they doing?
I leave it present.
Precipitation. Why? Because?
Because it's falling down.
It's raining, yeah. Okay, round of applause. Good job. Well, to learn about the water cycle, I'm going to teach you what's called the water cycle rap. You guys like music?
Yeah.
You like raps?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you the water cycle rap. Now, the reason why I'm going to teach you that is because when you learn through your body, when you do body movements, it helps your mind remember because you're actually experiencing something. So afterwards, when we do the water cycle rap, I'm going to ask you some questions about the water cycle, and all you'll have to do is think back to what your body did, which will help you to remember what the question is, or the answer to the question. So before we begin, we have to clear the room. So let's all stand up and let's move the desks and tables to these chairs to the side walls. Okay, and let's get in a semicircle, a half circle. And spread so you can move your hands or your arms. So back up, back up, back up. Get a little bit bigger. Let's get bigger here. Get bigger. More space, more space, more space, more space, more space, more space. Okay. So can you flap your arms, not hit anybody? Okay. Good.
I
Okay.
hit someone.
Now, how many phases are there in the water cycle? 4. So, For every phase, there's going to be a movement. And I'm going to teach you the movement. And when we do the movement, we also are going to say the word, or what that phase is. Now, does a cycle have a beginning?
No.
Does it have an end?
No.
It doesn't. Though I'm going to start with precipitation, it doesn't mean that the water cycle starts with precipitation. It means that's just what we're going to start to learn our rap. Okay, so there's a movement, and when we say precipitation, we do a movement, and this is what it is. So we go like this. Just watch, and then we'll all do it together. So I go like this. 1, 2, watch first. 1, 2, 3, and then I would say precipitation. Okay? Hands up. So on 3, we're going to act like it's raining, and what are we going to say?
Precipitation.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation. Okay, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation. Okay, now, what follows precipitation is what's called saturation. We have our ocean. We have lakes, rivers, ponds. Anytime the water collects, that's called saturation. It gets saturated. Have you guys walked in puddles before?
Yes.
Have you swam in the ocean before?
Yes.
Have you been on rivers before?
Yes.
Lakes.
Yes.
All of those are examples of saturation, when water is all saturated or collected together on the earth. Okay, so watch again. Now we would begin with, don't do this, just watch. We begin with precipitation, so I would say precipitation. And then the movement for saturation is this, saturation. Okay, so let's go from precipitation to saturation. Hands up. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation. Okay, let's try that again. On 3, hands up. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation. Okay, so what follows saturation is evaporation. How many have seen on the roof of a home after it has rained and the sun came out? What do you see? Yeah, you see, or sometimes on the street, after it rains, the sun comes out and you will see the steam on the road. Have you seen that before?
Yes.
Okay, well that's water evaporating back into the atmosphere and going up. So, watch for the movement of evaporation. So I start off with precipitation, saturation, and then evaporation. Okay? On 3, hands up. We're going to do the 3 phases we've learned so far. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation, evaporation. Let's do that again. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation, evaporation. Okay, now the only one that we haven't done is what? What are we missing? Condensation. Now, a couple nights ago, how many heard the heavy rain? How many heard the thunder? Okay. What was happening was we were witnessing and experiencing condensation. So the movement for condensation follows evaporation. So we would go precipitation, saturation, evaporation. Now what were we hearing the other night? What were we hearing? So what we'll do is we'll go condensation and we'll clap like the thunder. Okay? So let's start with precipitation. Hands up. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation, evaporation, condensation. Okay, now let's go through it about 2 or 3 times. Okay? Start again with precipitation. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, saturation, evaporation, condensation. Okay, now, the thing about the water cycle rap that I didn't tell you is that each time you do it, you're supposed to start out slow and then go faster and faster and faster and faster. So each time we do it now, we go through the cycle, we're going to pick up speed. And we're going to see how fast we can do it without messing up. Does that sound like a good challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start, see what we can do. Hands up. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Precipitation, saturation, evaporation, condensation, 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 precipitation, saturation. All right, great job, guys. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions. But before they do that, I want somebody to summarize for us the 4 phases of the water cycle. Who can summarize that for us? Aiden.
The 4 phases of the water cycle is precipitation, saturation, evaporation, and condensation.
And what did we learn about a cycle?
That it never has a beginning or an end, it just keeps on spinning.
Okay,
Like a fidget
good. Now I'm going to ask you some questions. It would be the same type of questions that would be on a quiz or a test.
Oh,
And what I want you to do is, if you don't know the answer right off, remember back to
the dance.
the water cycle rap. And it will, your body then will help you remember what it is, or what the answer to the question is. So, my first question is, what phase follows or is after saturation? Saskia?
Condensation.
No. Think about it. Yes.
Evaporation.
Evaporation. Remember, it's saturation, evaporation. Okay. If you don't remember right offhand, go back to the rap. Okay. What phase is before precipitation? What phase is before precipitation?
Condensation.
Condensation, yes. What are the next 2 phases in a row after precipitation? The next 2 phases after precipitation. Dylan?
Saturation and evaporation.
Yes. Saturation and evaporation. What are 2 phases before, not after, what are 2 phases before condensation?
Evaporation.
Evaporation. Okay. So, is there a beginning, or what is the beginning and what is the end of the water cycle? Francis?
I don't think that there actually is a beginning or an end. I think it just keeps going, right?
Well, is she right?
Yes.
So that was a trick question. Right? What if I ask that on the test? What are you going to say?
Trick question.
Trick question, and you're going to say there is no beginning or there's no end. So, good job. Okay. Well, it's about time for break. I'm going to leave the desks where they are, because when we come back, we're going to review our vocabulary spelling list by playing spelling baseball. And you know that when we play spelling baseball, we need the room clear. So after break, we'll come back and we'll review our spelling words by playing spelling baseball. So, yeah, yes, question?
Mr. Brown,
Yeah.
can we do the water cycle wrap on next week's environmental assembly?
That's a pretty good suggestion. How many would like to do that? You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, on the next week during the assembly, would you guys like to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we can practice it right before the assembly, and I'll talk with the program director, and let's see if they will add us to that so that we can do it. And maybe we can teach the whole school. Would you guys like to do that?
Yeah.
We'll show it to them, and then we'll have you guys split up into bleachers, and then actually we'll teach everybody. How about, I think that's a great idea. So are you guys on for that?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and line up for break. Line up, and then afterwards, when you guys come back in, we'll do our spelling review with spelling baseball. Okay, you guys are dismissed. We'll see you.
Mr. Brown, want to come on the frisbee?
Yeah, I will join you. I'll join you in about 3 minutes. I'll bring out the frisbee and I'll join you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, Mr. Brown.
Bye-bye.